I figured I'd come back to the shipwreck. I haven't been spoiled at all on what's here, but I have been indicated that I may have missed an entire thing in here somewhere by thinking I was done. I spent a decent amount of time running around and just solving environmental puzzles, but there may be a whole zone I never found. It's a very unusual shaped area to walk in, so I don't exactly blame myself, to be honest. Trying to navigate a 3D space that's shaped like this and figure out in your head which places you visited so far. Let's see here. Not here. We solved that little thing down there. I'm looking for some sort of evidence of thing that I can traverse I haven't found yet. I think I went over there too, right? Did I walk across this? I feel like I remember looking into this from this side, so I think we walked across this too. So what could I be missing around here? Let's go straight to the far end. Is there any attachment? There's no attachment to the other ship over there. And I don't think the boat can land over there. Oh yeah. We walked around on this piece of crap for a little while. I think I did this already. Let's see here. Not quite the right perspective. There we go. Yeah, it glows already, so I've done that before. That's a nice touch. If you did it already, it'll just sort of glow like that to help indicate what you're doing. Hello, bush. That's just here to be in my way. Alright, we'll check the interior. Have I gone up here already? Yes. There was an audio tape right around here. There. Staircase leading to nowhere. Another staircase leading nowhere. Oh, I think is that what I missed? Is the second staircase what I missed? I think I came through here. This all looks familiar too. It must be down here. This is really an uncomfortable area though, the sounds they make. Makes me not want to be down here. So now we're down at water level. Oh, that's an actual puzzle. Oh, it makes sounds. It's a good thing I didn't find this before then, if it's gonna be the sound puzzle we just solved. And then this goes down, but you can't go into the water. It's impossible. As you know, like most most video game protagonists, the guy from The Witness is water soluble. So this is the specific room I missed. So you have to listen to the drips. That's definitely low, high, medium. There's only one color like that. Do I have to separate the other colors from each other? Wait. Those are the same. Those are the... Wait, what can I move? What? It stops you from going there? Why can't you go here? Oh, it's a symmetrical puzzle with an invisible line. We're going back to that, huh? Okay. So that's what I have to do for the solution, I think. But I think I also have to separate these. Wow. We're going back to symmetrical lines that we can't see. So I can't see it from either perspective. That's the only reason I wouldn't be able to go around like that. Yeah. I can't cross over any line being made by the other laser. How many... Oh man, how many different audio patterns are there? There's a whining sound too. And I'm not talking about myself. So... I assume because they're different colors I have to separate them, but maybe I also have to just touch every color. This is gonna be hard. There's a weird metal grindy sort of whining sound in the background, and I think I have to solve those in the correct order too. So there's 3 separate sounds and I have to touch them in the correct order with 2 different lasers symmetrically. Oh my god. I'm starting to wonder if the 3 different colors are the 3 different drops of water. That the first one is so loud that it has like a double echo, and then the other ones are quieter, so they only have a single echo. Like maybe you just have to pick the big ones up first and the little ones of each color last. Or maybe this weird sound happening right now is also part of it. But it's hard to get a tonal change from that one. There's that one, and there's also sort of almost like a horn in the background. That's a little hard to make sense of. Alright, I think I finally have this one sketched out. This one took a while, but I drew a path by pencil. I'm using more tools than I thought I would. So I got to the point where I'm taking a ballpoint pen to draw the grid, then a permanent marker to draw the dots. They're visible on the grid, then a pencil to try to sketch a path over the ballpoint pen grid so that I can tell where I'm going. And my plan here is to touch all 3 of the big... Basically, I'm going to grab every single dot, but I'm going to specifically grab the big one of each color first. So my path goes like this, and then down. At this point, the bottom invisible line, assuming that's even how this puzzle works, is currently grabbing the big purple one down there, or the big pink one, magenta, and is it's on its way towards meeting me, so we need to juke to the side to avoid hitting it. And since it already grabbed the big magenta down there, we're going to grab the small magenta. Let's see, I'm going 1 further down. Then I'm going along to the wall, and I'm going to go after this large one, this large black piece right here. And we're going to go 1 further because in the opposite side of the screen, the invisible bar is touching the small black piece if I go this far. So now everything is on the entire screen is grabbed except for the 2 small oranges that follow up on the first big one we picked up at the beginning. If I go right 1... Wait, actually, the other orange is already picked up by the opposite invisible bar, so this going right 1 here grabs it with this bar, and that should be every single dot accounted for, and so that's the solution for the rules that I've interpreted, but if I'm wrong about the rules, then this won't work. And it did not work. Oh no. So I found a solution, but I must be wrong about how to interpret the sounds then. So here's what's bugging me. Is that as I listen to these droplets, it sounds like it's low, high, medium. The third note is a lower note than the second one, indicating 3 different sound levels. But the only set of 3 is this orange, which is low, medium, medium. But they're distinctly 3 different notes. So I'm thinking the colors might be full of it. I don't know if the colors actually mean anything, because that's the only set of 3. The only thing is I could think maybe it's one of all 3 colors, but even then that doesn't make sense because they have different high points and low points. It's hard to make sense of that either. I think I'm going to ignore the colors and try to grab a set of 3. What I'm trying to figure out here is that we're using parallel lines, and we have a creaking in the ship, which you're hearing right now. And the creaking in the ship is hard to make sense of. But the creak probably represents other notes, right? So I'm wondering if the 2 parallel lines are supposed to touch the 2 different sounds, basically. So I basically think I'm supposed to try to draw a line that covers the 3 drop noises, perhaps. But then also allow myself to grab the other notes with the other line. But the creaks are like impossible to make sense out of right now. I can't get any sort of pattern out of them so far. So that's not helping me at all. But right here I'm noticing that there's a nice little cluster of low, high, medium, which is the exact notes I need. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to draw a line that grabs these while enabling myself to also grab these. I'm going to try to grab these 4 dots with the other line and just hope that I get them in the right order. Because I think low, high, medium is exactly what I need for the drops. The alternative would be to go low, high, medium, or low, high. That's not feasible. Low, high, medium. No. I think that's the only set of low, high, medium I can grab. Because if I come here and go low, high, medium, then I'd be cut off because I can't grab this thing with the other opposite line. So this is the most feasible low, high, medium pair to, set to grab with one line. So I just need to try to draw it in a way that will grab the other pieces along the way. So this is what I need to grab this piece. What order do I want to grab the other ones in? If I go up one, I'll be grabbing the medium piece for the orange. And then to grab the... Probably want to make my way over to the big orange, which is over here. And then grab my next pink piece here. But I've isolated myself. The invisible line won't be able to grab the other medium orange, so let's go back here. I could leave this orange for later. Should I go for the other orange first? And then come up for the medium one? I mean the large one, right here. That's the large orange. I'll grab my pink. So the two oranges on the left are both grabbed already. Now I should come back for the other orange, right? Down here. Then go up for my black piece. And then if I keep going forward, I'll grab the other black piece, right? Holy shit. Okay. I feel like I half solved that one, though. I don't know. I think I solved the droplets part and the invisible line part and grabbing all the dots part, but I don't think I was able to interpret the sound that the ship was making besides the drops. But I am happy to have completed it at least. What else is in here? What do you do? Oh shit. Oh shit. It's one of these. So this doesn't really lead anywhere then, huh? It's just one of these. That's acceptable. I'm happy to see one of these, still. Ew. Oh no, it's underwater. It's gonna... This would actually get pulled away by the waves, funnily enough. Let me draw that. Alright, I have you now. Oh cool, I don't really have to reorient my drawing. The perspective I drew is the same perspective that the tablet is in. What are we gonna get this time? So first we got a lecture, and the second one we got a film, which I accidentally called French, but I think it was... Shit, let's just not correct myself, because I don't remember what it was. But now what?
Know yourself as the open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. Open because you say yes unconditionally and indiscriminately to all appearances of the mind, body, and world. Like empty space. You have no mechanism inherent within you that can resist any appearance. We don't have to make this the case, it is already the case. Empty, because Although you, I, this aware presence, is aware of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions, it is not made out of a thought, a sensation, or a perception. It is made out of pure knowing or awareness. And luminous, because just like the sun, relatively speaking, that renders all objects seeable, so you, I, this open, empty presence, renders all experience knowable. In fact, we don't really see objects, relatively speaking, illumined by the sun. We just see reflections or modulations of the sun's light, appearing as a multiplicity and diversity of color. In the same way, we don't really know the objects of the mind, body, and the world. We just know our knowing of them. All we know, all that is known, is the knowing of experience. And you are that knowing. All that is ever known is a modulation of our own knowing presence, modulating itself in the form of thinking, sensing, and perceiving, and seeming to become a mind, a body, and a world. But we never actually know a mind, a body, and a world as they are normally conceived. We just know our knowing of them. And this knowing, the substance of our experience, the only substance of our experience, is ourself. In other words, we know ourself alone. Awareness knows nothing other than itself. Be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness. We don't need to do anything special to make this happen. Above all, we don't have to manipulate the mind in any way whatsoever to be this presence of awareness. This presence of awareness, which is simply our self, what we refer to when we say I, is ever present. Just check this in your own experience. Nothing that I am saying this evening, there is nothing that cannot be checked in your own direct experience right now. I bring no special knowledge to this meeting. I don't have a store of knowledge which I am disseminating. I'm just, within the limits of language, trying to describe the current experience. Ask yourself, do I know anything other than now? Try to experience the not now. Try first to experience the past. It's easy to experience a thought about the past, But what about the actual past to which this thought refers? Try to experience that. Can you step into the past? Can you go 1 second into the past? Or 1 second into the future? Thought can go there. But what about you? Really try to go there to make sure that this is not just an interesting philosophical conversation, but that it is actually your experience. That the past and the future are never experienced. And if the past and the future are never actually experienced, they are only thought about. And that thought about the past and the future is always now. If this past and future are never experienced, what does that say about time? Time is a movement between a non-existent past towards a non-existent future. It's a theory, a necessary and valid theory, but a theory that doesn't refer to the reality of our experience. Nobody has ever or could ever experience time. When I say nobody, I mean yourself, awareness, the only one that knows or is aware. When I arrived off the plane from London in Washington, D.C. last weekend before coming here, the friend who picked me up asked me how the flight was, and she said, "How long did it take?" And I experienced thought being cranked up like an old motor, a little resistant to get going. And for a moment, I could feel the cogs of thought almost moving, trying to work out how much time the flight had taken. Because in my experience, it had been now all the way. I had never left London. London had left me. I had never got onto an aeroplane, a flow of sensations and perceptions that thought abstracts and calls a body in an aeroplane, flowed through me. And I never arrived in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. arrived in me, or at least the cluster of perceptions that thought calls Washington, D.C. arrived in me. In the same way, nobody ever walked into this room, and nobody is sitting on a chair, and nobody is listening to a talk. A colorful flow of sensations and perceptions appears in awareness. But awareness never goes anywhere or does anything. It is always here and now, not here a place and now a time. Here, this dimensionless, now this timeless presence of our own being. That is our experience, whether we recognize it or not. Now the mind may feel a little rebellious when it hears this. It may say, yes, 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 that's true. but there is an undeniable continuity to my experience. And this undeniable continuity would seem to be evidence of time. Where does this felt sense of continuity come from? All we know of the mind is the current thought or image. And thoughts and images are intermittent. The body is known through sensation, and all sensations are intermittent. All we know of the world is perception, that is, sights, sounds, tastes, textures, and smells. In fact, nobody has ever experienced a world as such, a world as it is normally conceived to be. We just know the current perception, and all perception is intermittent. So if the so-called mind, body, and world are intermittent, from where does this felt sense of continuity come from? It comes from the only thing, if we can call it a thing, that is truly continuous, or in fact not continuous, but ever present now in our experience, and that is our own being, the presence of awareness. The presence of awareness is the only thing that is known to be ever present. Now the mind knows nothing of awareness, because the mind only knows apparent objects. So when the mind looks at experience to find what it is that accounts for continuity, it cannot see awareness, and so it manufactures a substance called time to account for the continuity of experience. In other words, continuity in time is what eternity looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind. Permanence in space is what the infinite, unlimited nature of awareness looks like when viewed through the narrow slit of the mind. Continuity and permanence are pale reflections at the level of the mind of the true, eternal and infinite nature of awareness, that is, of our self. What else can we say about ourselves from our actual experience? Which means right now, what can we know for certain about ourselves? Not what thought may tell us about ourselves, but what we actually know in this moment, derived only from our experience of ourself. Ask yourself, can I, this open, empty, knowing presence, can I be agitated? Thought can be agitated. Sensations, or the body, can be agitated. The world can be agitated. But what about you, the one that knows the apparent mind, body, and world? Can you, this open, empty presence, be agitated? See, in your experience right now, that you are, and this of course is just an image, are like an open, empty space, such as the space of this room. Nothing that appears within this room can agitate it. We are all sitting peacefully now, but if we were to stand up and start dancing or fighting, would the space of this room become agitated? You are like that. You, I, the presence of awareness, are undisturbable, imperturbable. We don't need to become imperturbable, and this undisturbability of ourself is not dependent upon the condition of the mind. Right now, you, awareness, are utterly imperturbable, and for this reason, another name for ourself is peace. Peace is not a quality that ourself has, it is what ourself is. Not peace of mind. Minds are more or less agitated. This peace that passeth understanding, that is not of the mind. It doesn't have to be sought. It is not hiding in the background of experience. This very awareness that is seeing, hearing, knowing, is pure peace itself, shining in all experience, however apparently agitated that experience may be. Ask yourself, can I, this presence of awareness, ever lack something? Thoughts can say that something is missing. Feelings can say that something is missing. But what about you? Without referring to thought or feeling, is there the slightest motive in you to avoid the now and replace it with the not now? See that in yourself, this presence of awareness, there is not the slightest impulse or possibility to avoid the now. And what do we call this absolute absence of resistance to the now? The absolute absence of resisting what is and seeking what is not. What is the common name we give to this? It is called happiness. We all know that when we are happy, we are by definition not resisting the now and seeking in the past or the future. By happiness, of course, I do not mean a pleasant state of the mind or the body. I mean this absolute impossibility of ourself ever to resist or seek, to resist what is and to seek what is not. So happiness, like peace, is just another name for ourself. It is not a quality that ourself has. It is what ourself is. What else can we say for certain based on this current experience about ourselves? when I was driving here, or being driven here, the day before yesterday, from the airport in San Francisco, I was looking in the wing mirror of the passenger seat, and I noticed the words inscribed at the bottom of the wing mirror. And they said, "Objects in the mirror are closer than you think." A statement of pure non-duality. Objects that appear in the mirror of consciousness are closer than we think. How close to a mirror are the objects that appear in it? Are there in fact two things? One, the objects that appear in the mirror, and two, the mirror? Or is it all just mirror? All we know of the apparent mind is the experience of thinking. And thinking is just a modulation of yourself, a modulation of knowing or awareness. All we know of the apparent body is the experience of sensing. And sensing is a modulation of yourself, awareness. All we know of the apparent world is the experience of seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, and smelling. These are all modulations of knowing, modulations of ourself. In other words, we never truly know a mind or a body or a world. These labels are just abstractions that thought superimposes on the intimacy of our experience. From the point of view of experience, which is the only real point of view, experience is much closer, much more intimate, so close as to not admit the possibility of two things: one, myself, awareness, and two, the object that I know. Even that is an abstraction. It may be a useful stepping stone, a halfway understanding to conceive of thoughts, sensations, and perceptions arising in awareness. But nothing arises in awareness. The only substance of all experience, the only substance of thinking, sensing, and perceiving is already awareness. What do we call this absolute absence of two things? A subject that knows and an object that is known. Take now the experience of hearing. Go to the sound of the air conditioning. Forget about the labels sound and air conditioning. Our only knowledge of the apparent air conditioning is the experience of hearing. How close does hearing take place to you? 5 meters away? 10 meters away? Refer only to your experience, not to what thought tells you about sound. Where is hearing? Is it close? Intimate? And in the experience of hearing, can you find two parts? One part that hears, and another part that is heard? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance called myself? And what about this room? Thought says, I, the inside self in here, sees the room, the outside world, out there. But what does experience say? All we know of the apparent room is the experience of seeing. Remove seeing, and the room vanishes. In other words, we don't know a room. We just know the experience of seeing. Does seeing take place 5, 10, 15 meters away from yourself? Or is seeing utterly intimate? And can you find two parts to the experience of seeing? One part that sees, and another part that is seen? Or is it just one seamless, intimate substance? And what is the name, the common name we give to the absolute intimacy of all experience? It is called love. Love is the most familiar experience that we all know, the collapse or dissolution of the sense of a self in here and an object, other, or world out there. The collapse of this sense of separateness, distance, otherness, not me-ness, is what we call love. Love is just another name for non-duality. If we call it non-duality, there's just a few thousand of us in the world that are interested in it. But if we call it love, or peace, or happiness, then all 7 billion of us are interested in it. So why is it, if love, peace, happiness are the natural condition of all experience, the substance out of which all experience is made, how is it that it seems not to be experienced? It is because of a single thought that rises in awareness, made only of awareness, which imagines that awareness shares the limits of the thoughts, feelings, and sensations that appear within it. It is like imagining that a mirror shares the limits of the objects that appear in it. With that thought alone, the ever-present, unlimited awareness, which is what we are, seems to acquire or take on the apparent limits of the body and the mind, just as the screen seems to take on the limits of an image when a film begins. As a result of this imaginary collapse or contraction of our self, unlimited, eternal awareness into a body and a mind, these qualities of love, peace, and happiness are seemingly veiled. And it is for this reason that the self, the separate self that thought imagines us to be, is always, by definition, on a search in the imaginary outside world for the apparently lost love, peace, and happiness. However, this imaginary inside self cannot, by definition, find the love that it seeks, because its very presence, its apparent presence, is the veiling of that love. All the separate self seeks is love. In fact, the separate self is not an entity that searches, it is the activity of resisting the now and seeking the not now. All this seeking ever wants is love. But love is the dissolution of this seeking, the dissolution of this imaginary self. In other words, the separate self that seeks love is like a moth that seeks a flame. The flame is all the moth wants, but it is the only thing it cannot have. Because as the moth touches the flame, it dies. That is its way of knowing the flame. It becomes the flame as it touches it. That is the separate self's way of finding love, by dying in it. The death or dissolution of the separate self is the experience of love. So simply be knowingly this open, empty, luminous presence of awareness, whose nature, whose inherent nature is love, peace, and happiness. Not a love, peace, and happiness that is in the background of experience that has to be sought, but that is shining in full view at the heart of all experience. In fact, experience is made out of this substance called peace or happiness.
Oh, I didn't think it was gonna ever end. It's not an uninteresting concept, but dear Lord, did he? How long was that recording? I can't really measure it from here exactly, but it was very, very long. Is this pattern supposed to look like him sitting cross-legged or something? Anyway, he very occasionally moved a little bit. I've been thinking about whether or not these recordings contain puzzles, but I don't know how much would have the patience to redo the whole thing again. I like that part particularly when he was talking for so long the computer went to sleep. That was a very long thing. All right, I somewhat have a story to supplement that because in school I was kind of by their own definitions I was a gifted student or whatever. And I was there so I was in the gifted and talented thing, the gate, for all the smart kids or whatever. for in elementary school. We went on a little experiment where we were pretending to be on a station on Mars that could actually monitor the outside world around us, but we had to do it using all these tools, so we couldn't see the outside world or touch the outside world. We could just use these things to monitor it, and that's when I kind of that separation kind of made me aware as like a 12-year-old of the concept of the idea that like, oh yeah, the human body is just made up of a series of senses, and all we know about the world around us is what those senses tell us, and we can never fully 100% be accurate about everything because we're observing an objective world via subjective organs, basically. But he took a much longer route to explaining that thing is glowy. That must be a walkway I can take at some point. There's like slidey doors. This place freaks me out because this place, and on the way in, there's one locked door where the lock is on the other side of the door, where there's clearly indication that there's entire subterranean areas we just don't even have access to, which helps conceptualize how there's so many puzzles in this game, because there's supposed to be like 700, I thought, and we're like halfway through that. But from our perspective, it looks like we're running out of island, especially for the puzzle panels, not for environmental puzzles. Oh, look. I found every other one so far. There's that one hatch by the desert, but I glanced at that recently, and I'm like, I still not quite sure what I'm looking at. It looks kind of agonizing, so it's on my backlog still. But I think there's still 2 hatches I haven't found at all. But yeah, the whole concept of experiencing an objective world through subjective means is not exactly rare. It's not exactly a rare thought space to occupy, but he occupied it for like a good, what was that, 30 minutes, 40 minutes? But anyway, I want to see if there's any more, especially since we can manually go through these. I'm just curious if I can find really specific subspots. This one's still my favorite, by the way. I like this guy's little lecture. It helped that it was better paced. Just taking a look around for anything that looks like it'd be a line I can trace. It's still possible for me to totally miss it, but I want to at least take a glance through it. Unfortunately, there's a specificity. This may not be the most accurate way to try to do this, because it definitely does jump around a lot over every tiny mouse movement. At some point, it might even be required to rewatch the whole thing again. Let's rewind that. There we go. Oh, look at that. Oh, it does go to. Can I like somehow? I can't back up in that direction. Huh. They totally used the goddamn tape. Now it's half of it. But what would I line it up to? Is there something all the way back here? Huh. But that's the door I was talking about, where something's got to be behind that. You almost might even be able to walk on top of this ramp up here somehow. There's an opening in the wall. At some point, that's going to be a thing we're exploring. What do I do with this thing? Let's see, let's go all the way to the beginning. And look for puzzles. We've now established that they exist, because I was able to click on that thing. Nothing working right there. The specific side thing makes me think I can click on that little bit, like, bloop, go around. If I could line this up with something. Let's see, let's put up to the side of the frame and see what I can find. This is a little rough because it does jump around a lot. This is like a 10-minute clip, so the accuracy of this means is questionable. It lines up. It almost lines up with the frame there, but not for any particular useful thing. Come on. Don't see it at the moment. Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of that. That's not a traceable line, but They do establish that you can click on that thing, and it lingers for so long that it seems like it'd be part of a puzzle for that specific reason. It makes that sound. What do I line it up with? I can't get the right... I can't back up enough to make the frame look small enough in my perspective. And if I go over here, it's out of line of sight. Kind of wonder if there's a line I can... Let's see. Oh, that tunnel you can see from out there isn't visible here. I'm wondering if some component of being upstairs could be used for this. Oh, what's this? There's a little bit of a thing here, kind of. Doesn't seem like it would line up, though. Yeah, it's not going to line up to this puzzle. The perspective's too bad. This may be... there's definitely a puzzle there, but I think... we might need a different tool to solve it. I wonder if you can change the lighting in this room somehow? Who knows what you could do in this room? There's something going on here. Oh, hey. Look at that.
This stuff's easier to take, isn't it?
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Got people.
It's easier to take, isn't it? Aha! Got that one. That's the part that lines up to.
The reassuring crutches of opinion, ideology,
And you're green.
and leaves
So...
only what is
no, go back.
true about the world.
Go back. Green. Son of a bitch holding it up to the side of the frame like that. Oh, you...
True about
Why can't you pause these? I'll just hold it up and try to be early.
because thanks to science and technology.
Yes, thanks to science and technology.
To know that they don't know so much.
Come on, 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 come on.
Say in what happens to their lives. More freedom to develop their abilities to the full.
I need a pause button, god damn it.
Towards that knowledge that they know exists.
Is there more down? Do I want to go both sides?
And by
I'll go up first. How did I miss?
give everybody a computer.
Oh, I went past it. I misinterpreted the direction this goes in. Whoops.
This scientific knowledge.
Quick, 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 quick.
Because it removes the
Yep. Yeah. Nope. Not that one. Got it. Alright. Wow. Both of the weird colored frames were about the first puzzle.
people may be thinking about
So
throwing
that...
away their
Wow, so we've established there's 3 puzzles here then, because that thing's clickable. Can't drag it anywhere, though. The top of the frame, perhaps? I can't go high... I can't jump, though. Like, I can't get higher to make it line up. Oh, this whole area has glowy corners around it. I don't know, how would I stand in a perspective, though, to make that happen? How would I line that up with something? I think we're going to have to come back to that one. I'm proud of myself just for finding those 2 for now. I could use a break after how long that lecture was, frankly. It was taxing to listen to for that long. That dude... That guy was like 70% empty space when he was talking. Like, that was a lot of dead air just to run up that runtime. It reminds me of when I would do class lectures, and sometimes I was dramatically pausing because it makes the lecture twice as long. So it meant that you don't have to write as much. Haha! It's like double spacing and making your margins like 0.1 wider than they actually are, just to get rid of some of that extra writing you have to do. I'll see you guys next time. Oh! Hey, you. I'm sorry, I was getting ready to close the episode. I was just walking over to there because I figured I'd go there next. I think there's got to be something over there. I just saw you. Thing on top of temple. Boop. Nope. Probably have to line this up with so many parts of these steps. These all have different endpoints, don't they? Except that has a white thing that stands up and gets in the way, so it'd have to be like over here. There we go. What did I do wrong? Stand a little more over here. further back, I think, to line it up correctly. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. There's another one. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. So I got that one. There must be one over here. Stand just the right position to line that up. Maybe I have to stand up here. That'll explain this weird rock sticking out. Come on. Careful. I love that the exact location of a leaf dictates exactly where you need to stand. It's another one. Still missing a few, although those ones look less like they'd be part of the steps, specifically. There could still be more. Let's see, do the steps look like they would create a puzzle? Oh, yeah, they do. But how would you line them up? Like that? Here we go. Oh, connect it. Connect it. There we go. What about the other side? Careful. Yep. Do we need to step closer? Perspective. Where's this one going? Oh, wow. Hello. Two more just like that. So that's one endpoint on each side and one endpoint on each side of the stairs. There's 4 puzzles right there. Just like that, filling in a whole bunch of that screen. Wishing I could zoom in right about now. Is there a zoom in function? I may have just forgotten about it. It's possible. Well, that's at least a chunk. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 separate gray lines I just drew, I think. It's a decent chunk of progress. I'll accept that for now. I'll be sure to look at it later to see if there's evidence I'm still missing more. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching like always. I'll see you next time. And I'm visiting family, so if the next episode is a little later than normal, that's why. But there should still be one tomorrow, too. I just might not get home at a good time to upload it. See you guys next time. We'll find out what's over here. I think it's like the last bastion of unexplored territory, besides little chunks here and there that I've walked past, perhaps, and of course the mountain itself. We'll see.